This is the Type 055 missile destroyer developed by China, a formidable warship with a displacement of up to 11,000 tons. Often referred to simply as Large Destroyer 055, her appearance revolutionized the tactics of future naval warfare. Traditionally, aircraft carriers have been considered the core of naval combat, but the Type 055 shows a shift in which destroyers can become the centerpiece. So, how powerful is the Type 055 destroyer? Why does it have the potential to reshape future naval battles? Is it just because of its 112 vertical launch system units? Compared to other countries' destroyers, how does the Type 055 rank? And why did the United States classify it as a cruiser? Let's explore these questions through this overview. Don't forget to like and follow. Thank you. First, what exactly is a missile destroyer? Naval terminology can be confusing with names such as battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and aircraft carriers being widely used. Battleships, once the kings of the sea, have gradually passed into history, while aircraft carriers have become the foundation of modern naval warfare. Most people are familiar with aircraft carriers, but when it comes to cruisers and destroyers, the differences often become blurred. Many people believe that the US calling the Type 055 a cruiser is just a matter of naming convention, with not much real difference from a destroyer. To clarify, let us analyze the difference between destroyer and cruiser. During World War I, battleships reached their peak. These massive ships boasted the largest and most powerful guns, but their heavy armor, designed to withstand enemy fire, made them slow and cumbersome. The Navy needs faster, more maneuverable ships for missions such as reconnaissance and rapid breakouts. This led to the rise of the cruiser, trading some firepower for superior speed and maneuverability. The first cruisers did not differ much from battleships, but in general, battleships had more firepower and greater displacement, while cruisers sacrificed some of that power for greater maneuverability. Cruisers are divided into light and heavy based on their firepower and mission profile. With offensive ships like battleships and cruisers, navies also needed defensive ships to protect their fleets, especially after torpedoes emerged as a major threat. This created the destroyer, which was initially tasked with fighting enemy torpedo boats. At the time, torpedoes had limited range, so destroyers simply kept enemy ships away. As aircraft carriers and their aircraft emerged, replacing battleships as the core of naval warfare, destroyers also evolved. By the end of World War II, combat at sea revolved around aircraft carriers, with cruisers and destroyers playing support roles. Destroyers shifted from anti-submarine to air defense missions as fighter aircraft and cruise missiles became more advanced. As their anti-aircraft technology improved, destroyers became larger, encroaching on operating spaces previously dominated by cruisers. Today, destroyers have risen from a support role to a rival cruiser, and even an aircraft carrier in some respects, especially with the introduction of the Type 055. The Type 055's impressive capabilities have led some to joke that it has shifted the focus of naval warfare away from aircraft carriers. So, what makes the Type 055 a competitor to aircraft carriers? Let's take a look at its power systems, firepower, and radar technology, and see where it stands globally. Type 055 is 180 meters long, 20 meters wide, with a draft of 6.6 meters. It is powered by a COGAG, combined air and gas, system, consisting of 4 CGT-25M gas turbines, each producing 38,000 horsepower for a total of 150,000 shaft horsepower. This gives it a top speed in excess of 30 knots and a range of 9,300 kilometers, about 5,000 nautical miles, at cruise speed. Its standard displacement is 11,000 tons, with a full load of 12,000 to 13,000 tons, well beyond conventional destroyer limits and into cruiser territory. This is why it is often called Large Destroyer 055, and why Western countries, such as the United States, prefer to call it a cruiser. Although cruisers are largely overshadowed by destroyers worldwide, their historical power is undeniable, and the Type 055's Western classification as a cruiser emphasizes its formidable power. According to British research groups, although the Type 055 is technically a destroyer, its displacement and capabilities are comparable to the U.S. Navy's active Ticonderoga-class cruisers. Its strength lies mainly in its weapons system. As a destroyer designed to protect aircraft carriers, it handles air defense, anti-submarine, and anti-ship missions, relying primarily on missiles. The Type 055's missile launch system supports both hot and cold launch via 112 VLS units, 64 at the front and 48 at the rear. These units deploy a range of missiles, including medium and long-range options, such as the YJ-18 anti-ship cruise missile family, the YJ-21 supersonic anti-ship ballistic missile, the HQ-9B medium to long-range air defense missile, and the U-8 missile-assisted torpedo cruise missile family. Among these, the YJ-21 stands out the most. About 9 meters long, with a warhead weighing 800 to 1,000 kilograms. It has an estimated range of 1,000 to 1,500 kilometers, and a terminal speed of Mach 10. By comparison, Mach 10 even exceeds Ultraman's fictional maximum flight speed of Mach 7. Compared to the U.S. Navy's F-35C carrier-based fighter, which has a combat radius of 1,000 kilometers, the Type 055 can strike from a distance of 500 kilometers beyond the reach of U.S. aircraft carriers, launching more than 100 missiles in a saturation attack. Can a U.S. aircraft carrier withstand that? How does it compare with competitors? Using the YJ-21 against aircraft carriers seems like overkill. U.S. tests of the Standard Missile 6, SM-6, showed it could not reliably intercept China's DF-21D or DF-26 ballistic missiles, let alone the more advanced YJ-21. Even without the YJ-21, the Type 055's other capabilities are impressive. Globally, it competes with the United States Arleigh Burke Flight III class destroyer, South Korea's Sejong the Great-class destroyer, and Japan's Maya-class destroyer, technically a frigate due to Japan's post-war naming conventions. The U.S. Burke III uses the same COGAG system with 4 GE LM-2500-30 gas turbines, reaching speeds of more than 30 knots with a range of 4,400 nautical miles and a displacement of 9,700 tons. With a length of 155.3 meters, this ship is shorter and lighter than the Type 055, with only 96 vertical launch tubes, VLS, compared to 112 tubes. The ship's advantage lies in quantity. 74 Burke III launchers compared to fewer than the Type 055. South Korea's Sejong the Great-class submarines, specifically the second batch, Jeongjo the Great-class, have a standard displacement of 8,200 tons and 11,500 tons at full load, powered by 4 LM-2500 turbines for a speed of 30 knots and a range of 5,500 nautical miles. It boasts 104 VLS units, 64 Mk41, 16 KVLSY, 24 KVLS2. Although earlier, Sejong variants reached 128 units, slightly more than the Type 055. The Japanese Maya class, with its gas-electric hybrid system, reached speeds of over 30 knots with 69,000 horsepower and 96 VLS Mk units, 41, still inferior to the Type 055. The United States, South Korea, and Japan rely on standard series missiles and Tomahawks, which can match the Type 055's missiles in performance, but the Type 055's larger number of VLSs and advanced radars, such as the HLJG-346, BCS band and X-band active phased array systems, give it superiority over the Burke III's radar. Calling the Type 055 of the world's most advanced destroyers may be an understatement of its true power. What do you think? Feel free to share your thoughts. Switching gears, let's look at Israel's military activity in the Middle East over the past year. The Israeli Air Force, IAF, a regional power, has become the center of attention, with the F-35 playing a major role. Since November last year, the IAF has demonstrated an F-35 eye-intercepting a cruise missile from the southeast, using an AIM-9 missile, opting for fighter interception instead of ground-based defense. This bold move highlights the power of the F-35I. So, how powerful is this F-35 variant, and why does it reflect the close relationship between the United States and Israel? Let's dig deeper, and don't forget to like and follow. The F-35 a fifth-generation fighter deployed in the 21st century, is the most widely adopted and diverse fighter aircraft globally. The United States alone operates 2,456 aircraft in the Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps, with more than 3,500 ordered worldwide, including with allies such as Britain, Israel, and Japan. Its success stems from both its capabilities and the United States' customization to its allies. The F-35I, designed specifically for Israel, illustrates this. Born out of the Joint Strike Fighter program, where Lockheed Martin's X-35 defeated Boeing's X-32, the F-35 is a collaborative effort. The United States has invested more than $30 billion, with allies such as Britain and Australia contributing $4.375 billion. The UK, as the largest contributor outside the US, enjoys perks such as earlier access to the F-35. Israel joined in 2003 as a participant for security cooperation, development assistance, and insight into the F-35. Pleased with its potential, Israel planned to buy more than 100 F-35As worth $5 billion in 2006 to replace its F-16S. But Israel has gone further, developing upgrades locally. By 2010, Rafael Advanced Defense Systems was working on smaller Python and Darby missiles for the F-35, while Israel Military Industries built armor-piercing bombs similar to the Mk-82. Although delayed, these efforts underscore Israel's ambitions. During his visit to the United States, then Defense Minister Ehud Barak promoted local production of F-35 parts and assembly, funded by U.S. military aid. This deal, at no cost to Israel, highlighted the deep relationship between the United States and Israel, paving the way for the F-35I. Despite domestic debate, some say upgrading the F-15 and F-16 is cheaper. Israel pressed on, motivated by the need for air superiority over its Arab neighbors. The customized F-35I, called the Adir, Hebrew for mighty, arrives with unique radar, electronic warfare, and communications upgrades, priced at $96 million each. Lockheed invested $4 billion in Israeli-made parts to sweeten the deal. On December 12, 2016, Israel received its first F-35Is, becoming the first non-US country to deploy them operationally. By 2018, they were using them in Syria, marking the F-35's first time in combat. In 2020, the United States provided an F-35 testing platform to Israel to integrate its weapons and electronics, a rare concession that reflected trust. With additions like the EWS, electronic warfare system, and improved sensors, the F-35I outperforms regional adversaries like the Russian-equipped Iranian Air Force. Beyond stealth, Israel added the C4 SOSH-I system for real-time data sharing, vital against threats like Hezbollah's 150,000 rockets. Weaponry includes the Spice 1000 guided bomb, infrared missiles, and extra fuel tanks boosting range by 36%. Tailored for Middle East combat, the F-35I's dominance is no surprise. Yet, Israel knows stealth won't last forever as radar tech advances, so it's planning ahead. We've just explored the incredible power of the Type 055 destroyer and the excellence of the F-35I in the Israeli Air Force. Vivid examples of how advanced military technology is transforming the landscape of warfare at sea and in the air. The Type 055, with its superior firepower and potential to reshape naval tactics, alongside the F-35I's versatility and cutting-edge stealth technology, represent remarkable strides in the global tech race. If you found this content interesting and helpful, don't forget to hit the like button to support us. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on our next exciting videos. Plus, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below to join the discussion and share your thoughts. Thank you for being with us.